Most of us think that working harder automatically means achieving more, right? Well, I've got news for you. That's a straight up lie. Yeah, I said it. Busting your ass 24/7 isn't the secret to success. It's the perfect recipe for burnout. The truth is, a tiny fraction of your efforts actually produce the majority of your results. It's called the 80-20 rule. And if you get this right, you can work less, achieve more, and maybe even have time for that long forgotten hobby or whatever it is that normal people do with their spare time. For those who aren't subscribed to optimizing their lives already, I'm Seth Capehart, former military special operations, special agent, ER doc, podcast host, and performance coach. I'm here to push you to do the hard shit that moves the needle. So today we're going to break down this beautiful, life-changing concept called the 80-20 rule. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to make 20% of your actions drive 80% of your results. That means less mindless hustle, fewer late nights, and a whole lot more wins. And I'm talking about how you can stop doing the shit that doesn't matter and focus on what actually moves the needle. We're going to make you a results-producing machine, one that doesn't need to live on a steady diet of stress and energy drinks just to keep functioning. All right, so let me tell you about a good friend of mine. His name is Warren Buffett. All right, fine. So maybe he's not my best friend, but you know the dude. I mean, he's the guy who basically makes more money than God. Warren isn't the type of guy to grind 20-hour days living off nothing but Red Bull and the tears of his interns. Now, Warren has perfected the art of knowing what matters and what doesn't. And that's where the 80-20 rule comes into play. But let's go back a little. Picture this. It's 1940s and Warren Buffett is still a teenager in Omaha. He's not sitting there making some detailed color-coded to-do list like a stressed-out college student during finals week. Instead, he's figured out what actions actually are going to make him filthy rich. Spoiler alert, it's not cutting coupons for 25 cents off cereal. The kid is basically calculating compounded interest on a piece of paper and going all in on the stuff that actually matters. Fast forward a few decades, and now he's buying companies like we buy snacks when we're bored. Buffett didn't become a billionaire by spreading himself too thin and dabbling in 8,000 different things every day. The man actually figured out that there are just a few moves on the chessboard that matter more than all the others, and that's not just true for him. This applies to your life as well. It's about finding those 20% and hammering down on those. Speaking of focusing on the right stuff, let's look at Steve Jobs. Now, Jobs wasn't exactly known for his gentle and understanding management style either. If anything, he was more of a Zen dictator, if you can imagine that. But he was all about simplicity. When he returned to Apple in the late 90s, he took the company that was spread out over dozens of different products and said, screw this, we're focusing on just a few products that people will actually want to buy. So he cut projects ruthlessly, he boiled down the focus to just the things that actually mattered, and then boom, Apple went from almost being bankrupt to being the giant that now practically prints money from your pocket. And look, I get it. Most of us aren't here trying to build $1 trillion empire or become the next Steve Jobs. But the 80-20 rule isn't just for billionaires. It's for everyone who's tired of feeling like they're running on a hamster wheel of life. It's for the parents working 2 jobs and just want to get their damn weekends back. It's for founders who are tired of answering emails like they're playing whack-a-mole all day. It's for every high achiever who wants to be efficient without sacrificing their sanity. Hell, let me even break this down to a relatable level for everyone. When I was going through special operations selection, the instructors were pretty damn clear. They didn't care if you could bench 300 pounds or solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded or do the most killer push-ups. What mattered to them was that you showed up every single day and executed the basics extremely well. Being on time, in the right uniform, keeping your gear squared away, working as a team, and never quitting. That's it. If you focused on those things, those 20%, you could make it through the other 80% of the chaos, sleep deprivation, cold ocean water without issue. The guys who tried to do everything perfectly, they burned out. They were the ones running into the surf and then collapsing on the beach sand like a bunch of exhausted sea lions. But the guys who focused on the key actions that got them through the day, who figured out what really mattered, they were the ones who survived. And that's where the 80-20 rule comes in. That's what it's all about, is figuring out what those key actions are for you and then doubling down on them so that you don't end up like one of those flopping seals on the beach. Even our good friend Bruce Lee was onto the 80-20 stuff before it had a catchy name. He once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." It's the same principle here. Bruce didn't give a crap about doing everything. He cared about doing the right things over and over again until they became unstoppable. All right, Now that I've loaded you up with some historical references and my own wet, sandy PTSD flashbacks, we're going to dive into some good stuff. How you can use this badass principle in your own life to stop wasting time, energy, and let's face it, your sanity on the stuff that doesn't make a difference. Now, before we dive into the framework, let me ask you a quick favor. If you're getting even the tiniest bit of value out of this video, maybe a chuckle, a little motivation, please just take 2 seconds right now, hit the subscribe button. It takes almost zero effort from you. It's not the hardest shit of your day, and it helps me keep delivering this unfiltered free content and build the most badass movement on earth. So go ahead. I'll wait. Seriously. All right, back to it. So let's break down how you can take this 80-20 principle and use it to flip your life from overwhelmed hamster on a wheel to calm, focus, productivity ninja. Here's how you do it in 4 steps. Step 1, identify your 20%. That's the hardest part. Look, first things first, you have to figure out what the hell your 20% is. This means asking yourself, what are the key actions that are giving me the most results right now? It could be something that's leading to massive revenue in your business, something that's bringing you the most joy in your personal life, or something that just makes the most impact on your health. Let's say you're a business owner. Maybe that 20% is networking with key clients, or maybe it's creating high quality content that keeps bringing people to your site. You need to identify what is producing the most bang for your buck and then eliminate or delegate everything else. Take Tim Ferriss, for example. When Tim wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, he focused on high leverage activities that would make the most impact. He didn't try to be good at everything. He went all in on just a few things and automated the rest. He found his 20% that only he could do and made it work for him, and he did pretty damn well. Step 2, eliminate or delegate the other 80%. Okay, so you know what's making the biggest impact now. Now comes the fun part. You're going to Marie Kondo the shit out of your to-do list. Does this action spark joy? No. Then chuck it. Delegate it. Automate it. If you're spending hours answering emails that don't do anything but keep you busy, it's time to get ruthless. It's time to be savage. Remember, the goal isn't to be busy. It's to be effective. Here's the cold hard truth. Most of the stuff we spend our time on doesn't matter. Think about it. Answering every single email, attending pointless meetings, overcomplicating things that look like we're busy. It's a trap. Steve Jobs famously said, it's not about what you say yes to, it's about what you say no to. So you gotta be like Jobs. Simplify. Get ruthless about the 80%. Step 3, double down on the high impact activities. Now that you've got the extra mental bandwidth, it's time that you go all in on the juicy 20%. This is where the magic happens. Whether it's exercising to keep your energy up, getting better at public speaking, or focusing on those high stakes client meetings, you're gonna do it with everything you've got. Think about Michael Phelps. Phelps wasn't out there trying to be an average swimmer, an okay runner, and a decent chess player all at once. He decided that swimming was the 20% that mattered, and he doubled down until he became the GOAT. You need to think of yourself like Michael Phelps. What's the thing that moves the needle the most for you? What's the thing you want to be an Olympic level badass at? And double down on that. Step 4, rinse and repeat. Here's the kicker. The 80-20 rule isn't a one and done thing. It's a mindset. Life changes, and so do your priorities. This means you need to revisit your 20% often and ask yourself if it's still giving you the biggest bang for your buck. Life moves fast, and the stuff that matters most now might change next year, next month, or perhaps even next week. Bruce Lee said, adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. The man knew what he was talking about. Revisit what you're doing, pivot when you need to, and always focus on what truly moves the needle. All right, let's put this theory into action. Here's the deal. This week, I want you to write down everything you do in a day, everything. And then, at the end of each day, identify which of those activities are the key 20% that are moving you closer to your goals. Once you identify that, start thinking of ways to cut out the rest. It'll feel weird at first, but you gotta trust me, this is where you're gonna see the real progress. You're going to get overwhelmed by all the stuff you write down, and that's okay. It just proves my point. You're doing away with much of the shit that doesn't matter. But once you start chopping away at all that unnecessary stuff, you'll find yourself doing more with less effort. And if you've got the guts to really follow through, you'll wonder why the hell you didn't do it sooner. All right, so let's recap this bad boy. We're talking about the 80-20 rule, how 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. We've covered identifying that 20%, the high impact 20%, cutting the useless 80%, doubling down on what matters, and how to constantly reassess and refine. This isn't just a productivity trick. It's a mindset that will help break you free from the busy work that's keeping you from being truly effective. And hey, let's spread this no bullshit message. Share this episode with a friend who's drowning in unnecessary crap. Someone who could use the reminder to focus on what really counts. Let's get more people on board doing the hard shit and getting massive results. Comment down below and tell me what the 80% of crap is that you're getting rid of, or tell me what topic you want us to dive into next time. Remember, we're all in this together, doing the hard shit every damn day. As always, keep doing the hard shit, take control, and let's build that unbreakable mindset. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.